Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of What's Your Winenergy with your girl, WineDineDeeDee. And I am so excited today. I have just the most beautiful person inside and out with me, Jessica Cooper. She is an entrepreneur. She is a community leader, a civic leader, and she just has so much going on. And I was so honored when she said that she would come on and allow me to interview her on What's Your Winenergy. Hello, Jessica. Welcome.
Oh, Dee Dee, thank you for the introduction. Seriously, I'm glad to be here.
Well,
Glad to
I am
talk about
glad.
energy.
Yes, I am so glad to have you. I really, really am. So we're going to just get right to it. Now, this is What's Your Winenergy, your wine energy. So the first thing I'm going to say is ask you is what is your winenergy today? What are you drinking?
Yeah, honey. I got sangria today.
Sangria.
A good cab.
Yeah, you know what? It is always a sangria type of day. I love
Any
it.
day.
I love it. So you like sangria? So is that something like you would normally drink, or is that something you just like, okay, I just feel like sangria today?
Yes. Sorry, you cut out.
Yes.
Um,
Is the
and I love
sangria something you would normally drink, or you just felt like sangria today?
No, I love it. I love to take fresh strawberries, cut it up and put it in the wine and let it soak. And then at the end, I enjoy those strawberries too. So I get a little snack with it.
There you go. Look, there's nothing wrong with a little wine, little strawberries. I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I am drinking what you call, this is my glass, but I am drinking it's probably hard to see with the lights, but this is a Fume Blanc. It's a Fume Blanc. Now, Fume Blanc is just a fancy word for Sauvignon Blanc. It is just Sauvignon Blanc that's been aged in some oak barrels. That's it. So that's all it is. I know it. So I'm feeling, I felt like, it's kind of, the day has been nice. The weather's been nice. I was like, I feel like break out some white wine tonight, so some Fume Blanc. So cheers to you, Jessica. Cheers to you. Now, I have a couple of wine questions I like to just get out of the way. I like fun things. So, do you prefer red or white wine?
Ooh, it depends on what kind of night it's going to be.
I know.
So I'm more of a red. I like a good cab. I like it to be very oaky. But I don't mind a white if I'm going to be day drinking. So
right. There you go.
Have wine during the day.
There you go. Okay, so a cab. I love a big bold cab also. Yeah. I really do. Now, when you drink wine, do you normally have it with food, or do you just like to just have a glass and just relax, or does it matter?
One, it doesn't matter, but I don't mind a glass at the end of the day just to unwind and take off the work and take off the stress and say it's a new day.
That is me. I mean, I have a glass or two or three or four a day. So anyway, I at least have 2 glasses of wine a day. One just at the end of the day to just breathe after my workday has ended. And then I normally always have some wine when I eat my dinner. So I drink and so I drink a glass either way, like you say, whether it's relaxing or whether it's eating, I'm going to have a glass. Okay, well, good. Well, you know what, Jessica, I want everybody. First, I want them to know how you and I met.
Yes.
We met at the 2021 Birmingham Women's of the Year conference. And I'll never forget, my friends and I were sitting there trying to take a picture, and you came over and you showed us, because, we're in the senior citizen bracket now. So you, with your young, beautiful self, came over to show us how to stand and how to pose. And those pictures came out absolutely amazing.
I knew they would.
I know. Now, that's going to lead me into your career, your profession. Can you tell everyone what you do?
So currently I work for EarthCam. And what we do is really nothing to do with people and cameras, but we do tourism cameras. So one of the cool, fascinating things that we do is that we have tourism cameras all over the world. And when the Statue of Liberty was remodeled, we had 6 of our cameras put in her crown, painted to match her color. And so they are actually used for the city of New York for surveillance, for tourism, to check in live. And you can even zoom in like miles to see detail of the city. So it's pretty cool.
That sounds, that I need I'm gonna give you my resume after this is over, because sounds like something right? Sounds like something I would love. So do you get to, sounds like you get to travel a lot. Do you get to travel a lot with your job? And I know with COVID, travel has to be used loosely these days, but prior to COVID, did you get to travel a lot with your job?
I do. I get to travel quite a bit, and I get to see some of these cool projects that we do. And then I also sign a lot of NDAs for projects we do, because we work with lettered agencies all over the world.
Right.
So we don't just do tourism. We do government work. We do new construction. So we do a lot of integrations for general contractors, which is really my reach of business. Is I'm helping capture the Southeast region's name for EarthCam. So we've been in business 25 years.
Wow. So EarthCam, they all over the world, literally. Cameras all over the world.
In Abu Dhabi, all over the US and Canada. So we are literally stationed everywhere and growing every day. But it's funny how we started.
Okay, how did you start?
We started by filming the Grammys and the Super Bowls of the world.
Wow.
And it was an idea pitch way back in the day with our founder. He had gotten a call from Andy Warhol. They went to film school together. They were in art film school together.
Okay.
This is a brainchild actually from Andy Warhol in his earlier years and our founder, Brian Curry.
That is so interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you started out with doing Super Bowls and Grammys, and then you just branched out to, just doing everything. So anywhere there's a camera, we can thank EarthCam for that.
You can. And
we can blame EarthCam, one or the other.
Yeah, we can also thank high level security and
right.
License plate tracking. We do that too. So darn if I didn't get that ticket because of us too.
Oh my God. Right. So you are the big brother in the sky. So they need to blame.
Big brother.
Okay. You are big brother. So you're saying everybody watch it because somebody's always looking. And it's Jessica and EarthCam, you guys. I blame her. No.
Right, I ain't got that kind of time.
I know. Well, Jessica, that sounds like an amazing career, and it sounds like something you really enjoy. I can tell it in your face. You really like doing it. Well, another thing that you and I just had in common when we met each other was our weight loss. Yeah. But now your story is amazing. So you've lost, if I'm not mistaken, 200 pounds.
Right on the nose. It's actually today like 198 because I ate too many chicken fingers last night, but it fluctuates. So
200 pounds. Can you please tell my listeners, how did you do that and why?
Well, I'll first say I gained that weight in about 4 years. And so at the age of 25, almost 26, I decided that I didn't want to be who I was anymore and that weight wasn't going to work for me. So I decided to have gastric sleeve surgery December 13th of 2016, and I was 345 pounds.
Wow. And you know what? It's so amazing. I remember you saying December 13th, because it's only been about 3 years for me going on 4, but I also had mine on the 13th. It was February 13th when I had my sleeve surgery. But okay, so you've done, it's been how many years now?
So we're going on 5. It'll be 5 in December.
200. Oh my goodness. Now, people don't understand. People think that, you just go in, you have this surgery, and boom, all the weight just comes out and that's it.
Well, that's what they think.
That's what they think. I want you to explain, because you taught me something when I met you. And I'm actually going to start that very soon. But I want you to explain to people, just because you have the gastric sleeve, there's a lot of work that you have to put into not only losing the weight, but maintaining and keeping that off for 5, 6, 7 years, and however many years. Can you explain to people what you do and what, just what you've gone through from the time you decided to have the surgery or from the time you had the surgery to what you do now to keep that weight off?
Absolutely. And I'll start by saying that I broke every rule in the book. So
Okay.
there's no carbs for your first year, no sugar, no this, no that.
Right.
Well, I paid out of pocket for my surgery because, one, I'm a very impatient individual and I like things done when I have that idea in my head.
Right.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to have surgery. So I went and I had the surgery, and literally I was in the hospital for 3 days just because I've had external surgeries they wanted to monitor in the past. Mm-hmm. And so when I got out, I went to the Chinese buffet in Hollywood, Florida, and I got a piece of shrimp and thought I was going to die. It was the hardest thing to do. And I'll tell you, and I'll show you a dipping cup from the chicken finger I had from lunch for ketchup.
Yeah.
Did you know that there is more sugar in this bit of ketchup than there is in a Krispy Kreme donut?
I know now.
And did you know Krispy Kreme donut tastes a hell of a lot better than this ketchup?
Yes. Yes. If I'm gonna break the rules and I'm just gonna go all out, I would rather have that Krispy Kreme than that ketchup. Believe me.
And I don't mind where it sits on my hips.
Right.
But I could not drink water more than this cup full every 15 to 20 minutes without it just feeling like my insides were ripping out, because I'm a fast eater and a fast drinker, because I'm always on the go.
Right.
Well, the no carb thing, let me go by that. So I was a stress eater. Okay. So my weight came on from stress and everything else. So I didn't eat in excess. I just ate in boredom. I ate in anger. I ate in sadness. I ate in happiness, because food was my support.
Right.
It was also my addiction. Could still be considered that. But you said you just hit your 3rd year mark, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 2 more years of weight loss ahead of you. So in the last 2 years of my weight loss, I've lost an additional 75 to 80 pounds.
Now, how did you do that? Because I feel like I've already hit a wall.
Y'all, and when I say I don't work out, if I'm running, y'all better run too. Something's chasing me. I can't beat it. Okay?
I love
it. I'm a Southern girl.
Right. Me too, girl. Yeah, I don't have time for that running.
No. So when I say that the hard work kicks in now, you're in the phase of where it's going to kick in, and you have to make a decision, because some days your appetite is going to be stronger than others, and you're going to have the ability to eat a full cheeseburger or to have those fries. And you have to tell yourself, look, you need to hone it back. So I'll tell you, every January, I reset myself. So I go through what I did not do in surgery. I didn't do liquids. I didn't do pureed foods. I can't even fathom that part.
Right.
And I don't like soup. So I use that liquid diet, and I just kind of say, okay, I'm eating too much. I'm stress eating. I'm a little worked up. So I need to bring it back. And I'll go to 3 or 4 days of just doing protein shakes or water, because I know that my body can live off itself. It doesn't need a lot to function.
Right.
And you do have dietary changes. A lot of the foods that brought me joy taste like crap to me now.
And that's the part I love. Me too. Yeah, I love that. That some of the food that I used to just binge on, that was just absolute crap for me and for my body. It caused me a lot of health problems. Now I can't even eat them. I love that part.
Did you ever have the taste of something you've never had before? So for me, I crave Brussels sprouts after surgery. And I can tell you, I never put one of those things in my mouth, and I love them now. I can taste it. I should try this thing. I don't know what it is, but I need it. Did you have them?
I did. For me, I wasn't a big salad person, but for some reason, I wanted salads. But the problem with me was after the surgery, when I could eat salad, not immediately after, but when I could start eating solid foods, I don't know if it was the lettuce or just the leafy. It didn't do well for me, but I craved it. I wanted it. And I was like, what is it? Why can't I eat salad? I didn't even like salad. And now it's good for me. I can't even eat it.
Yeah. So I love salad. Now let's just say I didn't eat anything green if I didn't have to.
Right, right.
And I grew up in a Southern home, so greens were a constant, but it was just not my cup of tea.
Gotcha.
But for the salad portion, I had my gallbladder removed back in 2012. So you process things a little differently.
Correct.
And so salad doesn't work well for me, but there's just times that I feel like, and I'm learning this throughout the weight loss journey, is that maybe you're craving something within that salad. Maybe you're craving the vitamins that it provides or the water providing. And so maybe find an alternative solution, find a different leafy green you could try, or maybe just up your supplement in vitamin K, if that's what it is, essentially like in kale or spinach. And that could maybe satisfy that craving.
And it's funny you say that, because now I used to not like kale, but now I enjoy kale. But here's the thing. I don't really like it just raw. Yeah. I like it cooked. And so I'll cook it with some spinach or even with some collard greens, because I do like that. And it tastes, and I love it. I love it. It is healthy and it's good.
Roasted garlic in it.
Yeah, roasted garlic. Yeah.
I want that twangy garlic.
Yes.
Everything.
I know. But you're right when you say that a lot of times now when I'm craving things, I know I'm deficient in something. Like, for example, I'm one of those people, I like liver. You know, some people don't like liver, but my husband can't. Yeah, my husband can't. He just gags every time he sees. He can't stand it. And my oldest daughter doesn't either. But I like it. And my youngest daughter, strangely enough, she likes it too. But there are times now that I crave liver. Like, it's like I gotta have it. And I realize it's because I'm probably not getting enough iron or something.
Iron.
Yeah.
When I crave red meat, I know that it's iron. And I'll tell you, I learned something new the other day from a doctor, is that you need the iron, not necessarily what's prescribed to you, because that's iron oxide or something like that. And you need iron fluoride because it comes from plants. So you need it's iron in order to fill that iron deficiency.
Right.
So,
and I feel like I'm probably not getting enough of that. So I do have a doctor's appointment next month. So I'm going to talk to her about that. But I think that's probably my thing, because I have been of late craving the red meats and the liver. And I'm like, okay, it's something. I'm not getting enough iron. Maybe I got to do some more iron or whatever. And so I'm glad we're talking about this, because I think people are going to see this and see like, well, they had the surgery, so it was easy for them. But look at all the things we have to think about. Now that we've had the surgery.
Think about wine.
Yes.
You're technically, as a weight loss patient, not supposed to consume.
You're not.
And for a lot of weight loss patients, and especially the ones that you see gaining the weight, introduce alcohol past wine back into their diet.
Right.
Moderation, like you said, having 2 glasses or maybe 4 a night isn't necessarily a bad thing, but long term, it can affect.
It can affect your weight loss. And that's why I've started scaling back. I can tell, I'm like, okay, yeah, you love the wine, but is it affecting you? Like, because I told you, I feel like I've hit that wall now. Like, I'm not gaining a whole lot, but I'm not losing like I should. So it's like, okay, you got to start really looking at what you eat now, write it down, looking at what you drink, and get more focused on it like you were in the beginning, because I see myself tapering off and probably bringing some more of those bad habits back in.
So like I said before, the best thing you can do for yourself, especially when you feel that, is to reassess your diet just by starting over. Go to all fluids, even if it's for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
You can do it. Your body has the ability to do it.
Right.
And that has been the biggest. And year 3, I can tell you, I hit this major plateau. So that was 2019. Year 3 for me was a very dramatic year. I got divorced. I was finding myself again, and I was happy with my new body.
Right.
And still about 70 pounds heavier. But then I, start, going, okay, life's got to get back to normal. I need to reset myself. And when I reset myself, I lost that 30 or 40 pounds within year 4. And it was really just going, okay, what does it take for my body to survive? What can I do to make sure that I can be the best me every day? And then where can I cheat? And regularly, when I say I cheat with my glass of wine. Right. I cheat with that Krispy Kreme donut. I say Krispy Kreme because the first 6 months out of surgery, that's all I wanted. And until I actually put that donut in my mouth, did I satisfy that craving?
Right.
But I'll tell you, the first time I ate that Krispy Kreme donut, it felt like I was being stabbed in the gut over and over again because I was absorbing those carbs.
Yeah. And that sugar.
I knew that if I waited a year based off doctor recommendation to introduce sugars or carbs back into my diet, that I would free fall because those were my weak points. I loved potatoes and I loved carbs and bread.
Right.
Those were, so I was like, no. Because now by doing that earlier, I set myself with a limit. So instead of being able to eat 2 Krispy Kreme donuts a year from now, I was able to eat half of one. Can I eat 2 now? Yes, but I know my moderation, know that I don't need to because I know I can still feel that pain when I eat too much of it or when you eat too fast. You have to be really careful. And I'll tell you, did you lose the joy of going out to dinner with friends because you're done in 5 minutes?
No,
I did. I was like, man, I'm done.
Well, in the beginning, I did. In the beginning, I did because you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I've ordered this food because I was still ordering like I used to.
Yep.
So I ordered this entree. And like you said, 2-3 bites, I'm feeling it. And then you're sitting there and everybody's eating and they look like they're enjoying it so much. That sent me into a depression. I'll be honest with you.
Well, your food at some point was your crutch, whether you want to admit it or not. It was a crutch. And now you have nothing to lean on. So
nothing to lean on.
What do I do? And so many social engagements involve eating.
Yes.
You get together and you eat and you drink and you're like, well, I can't really do that anymore. So now what?
Yeah. In the beginning, and so much so I stopped going out. That's why I said no, because I was just like, I'm just not going to. I'm just not going to do it because I can't take it. I was like, I can't take sitting here watching everybody enjoy all of this good food, because what people don't understand, it takes your ability to eat away, doesn't take your desire to eat away. Exactly. The surgery does not take your desire. And my desire was still, so I just stopped going out for a little while, because even with my husband, he was like, do you want to get, no, just like, no, I don't, and he didn't understand it. And I didn't understand it either at first, until I was like, you know what? It's depressing you. You're having a problem. Not only that, I don't know about you, something else that kind of sent me into a little bit of I had to get my mind wrapped around it, was psychological. When I couldn't go into a store shopping for clothes and know exactly what size I wore, that bothered me.
I still do not go into a store and buy new clothes. I shop at Plato's Closet 90% of the time, or PJ in the clearance department, because I know that in 6 months I'm either not going to be able to wear these clothes or I am. And so my closet has rotated so much in the last
oh my goodness
years.
Yes.
Look, I still can't find a good bra.
I am so glad you said it. Same thing. Can't. I'm like
50% of the time.
Yes. It changes so much. And when I tell people that, they were like, you were depressed by losing weight, going down in size. I said, it wasn't the size, you guys. It was when you knew exactly. I'm one of these people. I knew what stores to go to exactly where to go in the store, what area, and exactly what size. I didn't have to think about it.
In itself, because here was
Yeah.
the most depressing thing for me when I was big.
Right.
Is that I was shopping in the same department that my grandmother shopped in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and my mom shop. Yeah.
We
were wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm as fashionable as I can be.
Right.
There's wardrobe. And I was like,
no. But then when I went in and I literally just almost was in tears one day. I was in the dressing room and I promise you I had like 5 different sizes and none of them fit. And that depressed me. And I was out with my daughters and my cousin, who's like a sister with me, and they could not, but they was like, what is the problem? This is a good thing. I was like, no, it's not to me. And I couldn't get them to understand it. They understand it now, but then they didn't. So it's just the psychological. I have a family member who just had the surgery probably 2 months ago. And she's going through some serious psychological things. And I kept, trying to tell her this thing is going to be more psychological than anything for you. And you've got to get your head wrapped around.
Throughout I still have psychological effects from it all the time.
Right.
You wouldn't believe me if I told you, when I was 345 pounds, when I looked in the mirror, I did not feel like I was as big as I was.
Of course not.
And I know you've seen the picture of my before.
I have.
But I can tell you, I did not feel like I was that big. But I also don't feel like I'm as small as I am now.
That's what I tell people when they see me, especially if they hadn't seen me in a long time. It was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, but I still got a ways to go. What? If I say, I really want to lose 10 more pounds, 20 more pounds, people get all crazy. That's too much. And I was like, okay. And so I don't try to explain it to them. I don't try to, say anything because I know what my goal is, But, when they see me, they're like, oh, you've just lost so much. And to me, yes, I've lost a lot. And I can tell when I look at pictures, but it's still not that much to me because, and this is what I say about the psychological, I can still walk by a mirror today and see that person before surgery, just a glimpse. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it doesn't make it easier. So I'll say I was a size 22 when I had surgery, and I ranged from a size 2'4" now, which, by the way, I was not even a 2'4" in high school. So I've actually gone below my high school weight.
Me too.
I've not had any altering surgeries. I haven't had skin removal, and I would probably lose another 10 pounds.
Right.
Just the skin that needs to be removed.
Right.
And you got to think it does so much to your body, and you go through so many changes that this will continue. And I know that it gets better because, I know we talked about being bold and being crazy. And we all have to be our authentic selves. But sometimes it's hard to be authentic when you feel like an imposter. And sometimes I feel like an imposter to the Skinny Girl Club.
But you're not.
I've been rude and I have said, man, and I'll say something and I'll use the word fat and people will turn and look at me and I'm like, I used to be 340 pounds, 45 pounds. You just leave me alone.
Right.
And I don't mean it in a connotation of, hey, you're fat.
Right.
I'm concerned and I may not even mean it in the way they think I mean it. But you get it's an adjustment all the way.
It's an adjustment. And you have to be careful too. If you say something, because I still have family members, like, I'm actually smaller than one of my daughters now. And so I have to be very careful what I say to them, to both of my daughters, really. I have to be careful. And they love this new me. They love the new body. They are always telling me how great I look and how proud of me they are. And I love that. But I never want to come off to them making them feel bad, And, my husband, he's a big guy. So I have to be real careful because people can be like, I don't know if people have ever said this to you, probably have, but, I'm not going to say a lot, but I've heard people say, oh, you took the easy way out.
Oh, I've heard it.
Yeah.
And I've shut it down right then and there because I won't listen to it. Because there's nothing easy about it.
Nothing. And I say, do what I do. Why don't you try it and come back to me and tell me if it's easy?
Go down that journey and you tell me. And I've had bigger people than me tell me that I took the easy way. Well, no, it's not easy. It's a journey.
Right.
And
try it.
To another group of, there's other individuals that I've talked to, and they went and they had the surgery and it's changed their lives. And then they'll call me, hey, I've got a guy in Rhode Island that I know, and he had this surgery mainly because he saw me before and then he saw me after.
Right.
And he said, I'm ready to change my life. And he called me probably 3 months ago and was like, hey, I had my surgery 6 months ago. And he's like, this is hell. And I was like, it's process.
It's a process. It's a process. I've had at least 3 very close people, 2 are friends, 1 is a family member that has had it since I've had it, because I had it. And I'm proud that they wanted to do something because they were, they needed to.
Absolutely.
But they have called me, just like a friend said, oh my goodness, what did I do? I was like, I'm telling you, it's psychological. You just got to get there. You're going to get through this. You're going to feel better, later on. Just get through. And it's like, I was like, but it's always psychological every day. It's psychological for me. It's not physical. It's psychological, and you have to do it. Jessica, I just appreciate you. I mean, when you told me that, I was like, no way. And then show me the picture. I was like, oh my God, I've got to have her on my podcast. I got to talk to her because you taught me something about the reset. Because I don't think anybody, and maybe they did tell me, but I may not have listened, but I listened to you when you said you got to start resetting, because I had been feeling like I hit a wall and I don't know what to do. I'm not gaining, because I try to be mindful, but I was like, I'm not losing. I'm getting on this scale and it fluctuates a little bit, down and up.
Yep.
But it's not like it was. And I was like, is this how it's supposed to be, in 3 years? Or, what am I supposed to do? But I have been reading that, okay, when you hit that wall, now you got to put the work in. Now you've got to do something.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll say I picked up on walking just to be more movable because I've worked from home for the last decade. So COVID really changed nothing for me other than I'm on
Me too. I've been working from home for 10, 15 years.
So how it is to be sedative and sit in that chair and blow through what you need to at work.
Right.
Yet you're not taking time for that self-care. Remember, it's 70% diet and 30% exercise. And if you're not giving that 30% on exercise, then that 70% diet's doing nothing for you. So you're going to continue to stay in that realm of comfort. But this is also where people say, okay, well, this is it. And I'm comfortable. So let me have these beers and let me go out with my friends. And then they piling on that weight. And I saw a fair amount of women who had this surgery and had gone backwards. And I was like, well, and I just kind of watched their habits because essentially no one gave me a roadmap. And the roadmap gave me, I didn't like. So I made my own just by watching other people and learning probably what I shouldn't do. And, carbonation is the number one way to stretch out your stomach. So if you're going to have your stomach removed, there is no sodas. There is no beer. There's none of that anymore. No, you have to, and actually, if I put a Coke in my mouth right now, I'd probably vomit because it tastes like syrup. Like
it does. It's very syrupy. Like I used to love beer. Like my husband and that's like I'm a big sports person. So this time of year, football season. I mean, we Saturdays, Sundays, Monday, we drinking some beer. Yeah, we drinking Monday. We drinking beer and we watching the game. But I cannot drink beer anymore. I cannot drink sodas. And I thought I would just miss it so. And there are times when I see him, drinking a nice cold beer that I do say, oh, but as soon as I take a sip, I'm like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Make you get the worst indigestion and
my goodness gracious.
It's like better out than in.
Yes.
But I hold this up. My water, you see, is a little blue.
Right.
I'm horrible at drinking water. Like that is the number one thing that I need to improve on. And it is the most important thing. And actually I use Pedialyte and I put blue powder Pedialyte. Oh, here's a package. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
I use it for everything. And this takes place of my sports drinks that are filled with sugar or soda.
I've never tried the Pedialyte. Now I do like the Crystal Light. You know, I'll do those. But I don't, and I probably shouldn't because I never drink it really because I'm like, the taste is just, but I try to do something besides just the water. But I'm going to have to try that. Now, see, you've taught me another thing new. I haven't tried the Pedialyte.
Put it in a liter of water and not in 16.9 ounces. Otherwise, it tastes like you're sucking on a slug and you don't want that.
Got you. I got you. I'm going to try that. I had not tried it. But the carbonation, I don't do sodas. You know, I don't do, because like you said, sodas now taste like actual, you may as well just throw some sugar down my throat. Yeah. That's how it tastes. And I'm glad though, because I was binging on it. Yeah. I'm glad about it. But this, you know, what I wanted people to hear us talk about this is because to talk about the challenges, because there are too many people out there that think, oh, well, they did it the easy way. They had the surgery. Are there too many people out here that think, oh, I'm just going to go have the surgery and I'm going to be all good? It doesn't work that way.
And you can say that, and I don't know the statistics, but I'd say every 1 in 2 people that have the surgery going, I'm taking the easy way out. This is the easy way out.
Right.
Been told, and they get to it and they get to the point you're at and they plateau and they go, oh, well, it worked while it did. And I'm just going to go back to my way.
Go back to my old habits.
You cannot do that.
Yeah, you can't. And I don't, you know, and even if I gain some weight, you know, I'm not unrealistic, you know, that may happen, but even though I feel like I've hit a wall, I know that I just can't see myself, at least not at this stage, going back to the way I was and doing the things that I did. I don't even have the desire. Like, I just don't, you know, I still can't. I mean, when I eat my dinner, I eat it off of this. I'm still eating it off of salsa. I don't use the plates in my, you know, my family, you know, the regular size plates. I still don't. I went from using a cup like you had to now I can't eat off of salsa, but I'm still not. I was like, I can't ever see myself going back to that piling on the way I did. And if I do, and I tell my family, if you see it, I need you to say something to me right away.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, last fall I gained 20 pounds.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, it fluctuates. It's really about, you know, hey, I was in a state where I just wanted to, I was comfortable.
And you wanted to, right.
Place, I was right. And then the food was hidden right. Right. It was all good.
Right.
But at the end of that, I was like, okay, I feel bloated and gross. And I want to keep getting back to, I want to get to the healthiest version of me as possible.
Right.
And that's essentially why I did the journey is I wanted the healthiest version of me. I wanted to give myself as much life as possible because for every extra pound you're overweight, you know, that's every extra year you can lose.
That's right. And don't you love the energy you have now? Yes, I love it.
I go all the time. I'm up, not willingly, at 4:30 every morning. Mm-hmm. But I'm also in bed by like 9:30.
Yeah, me too.
You know, you get up at 4:30, you can only be up
right,
so.
Right.
Up at 4:30 to 9:30, I'm up and I'm going. I don't watch. For me, I don't watch TV. Mm-hmm. I don't really even go out because of COVID anymore. So it's work. What can I do around the house? What can I do here? So I don't just actually work for EarthCam. I'm a real estate agent. I am a professional organizer.
Wow. Look, I need to hire you.
I do multiple things because I have to stay busy. And while work can keep me somewhat busy, my hands need to be moving. My brain needs to stop for 2 seconds. And I need to just do. I need to be meticulous. I have to get that energy off my body. So I have to be moving. Right. So where I don't move, where I may not go walk as much as I used to, I work it off in other areas. Mm-hmm.
And that's me. I love this energy. I can't remember ever having this type of energy. I just really can't because I started feeling and gaining. I mean, I was always heavier, overweight. But it really started like once I had my kids, and because I got really sick too after I had my first child. And it just, and I never, when I really started thinking about it and going to talk about my journey, I never felt good again after I got really sick after my first child. And it just went downhill from there. And so once I started losing the weight, I started feeling that energy. I was like, surprising. I hadn't taken a nap today. I hadn't been tired. And it's just like, it just continues. And the best thing about it to me is the energy that I have. I love it.
Absolutely. I can remember the summer of 2015. I'm driving up 459, probably 11:30 or 12 ish afternoon, morning-ish. And I had to pull over after the rest stop going to Gadsden. And I just pulled over on the side of the road and I leaned back in my seat and I locked car doors, probably the most unsafe thing you can do.
Right.
And had to close my eyes and regain my energy because I had been on the road for 2 hours driving. And that drained me to such exhaustion that I had to stop and nap on the way to, just by driving, because it was so draining.
It is, because just having the weight makes you so tired and you don't realize it, just having all of that weight. And I remember you told me that story and I was like, wow. And it was like me that the day that I knew, I'm like, something's just not right. You just shouldn't feel this way. I'm cooking. I love to cook. Cook for my family. I'm in the kitchen. I'm cooking. It's just during the week. I'm cooking. So by the time my husband gets home from work and the kids, their extracurricular activity, they can have dinner and we can have dinner. I literally, in the middle of cooking, had to turn everything off and just go and lay down. And I was like, what is wrong with me? And that's when I started realizing, okay, something, you gotta do something. You can't function like this. And so just this energy, I just love the energy. I love the energy. Love it. Well, Jessica, I just appreciate you sharing your story. Now, I want to get into something else that if you don't want to get into it, please tell me no.
Okay.
And we won't. But I know that you are a survivor of domestic violence.
I am. And it is also the number one reason I gained my weight in the first place.
Okay. Can you please share a little bit of your story?
Yeah.
Please.
So I was 20 years old when I married my ex-husband. I could tell you my naive self did not listen to my inner voice when I tried to back out of my wedding.
Gotcha.
I tried to listen to the people that I thought knew best and do what was right. And so about 6 months into my marriage began the verbal and the mental abuse from my ex-husband. It started with gaslighting and progressed. So we got married in 2012 and we had dated for about a year. And in 2014, he hit me for the first time. He was an alcoholic, so he drank heavily all the time. And there was a witness on that first occasion, and that's when I should have left. But I didn't feel safe. And anyone that's been through domestic violence knows that the turmoil that they go through is awful. And it feels like you have nowhere to go, no one to talk to because no one relates or they're going to feel sorry for you. And for me, it was ego. A lot of it was ego. I don't want people to feel sorry for me.
Right.
I put myself in this situation. I married this person. But my body decided to build an armor. Some therapist says. You build an armor of safety because you're being belittled and berated on a daily basis and you're being put down. So I built this exterior around me so that those words couldn't hurt anymore.
Gotcha.
And when it became physical, it changed. I tried to separate in 2016, actually before my surgery.
Okay.
And he talked me into coming back because he was on the edge of death.
Gotcha.
He had basically had a heart attack into his leg, and he was not going to handle the situation unless I came back.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up being in that situation until everything was finalized in June of 2019. But I left shortly after my grandmother's passing, which was one of the people that told me I had to see it through, but didn't really know what I was going through on the back end.
Right.
And it was an experience. So the first time, I got hit because he couldn't find his TV remote. And the second time was he couldn't find his leftovers. And, he was an ex-cop. So cops weren't someone I felt safe calling. My grandparents were all that I had, and I couldn't put that stress on the elderly. My grandfather had Alzheimer's. My grandmother had heart issues. So I couldn't put that additional stress on them.
Right.
So again, when I said earlier, food was my source of comfort. Food was really the only thing I could turn to. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Yes, that's why I brought it up.
Yes. So I started to share my story then, because that is actually not the only time that I've been through that. So after my divorce, I did not seek therapy. I did not seek help. I did not ask for anything. I just moved forward with it's a new life. It's a new me. I don't have to worry about this. And I thought all will be. And all my trauma just stayed in these little boxes in the back of my head.
Of course, because that's what we do.
And I started dating this tool of a person. I'll call them. And I was trying to keep him out of going to jail one night from a birthday party. Wow. And I was driving and getting off, actually, I know you're familiar with the area, so the Valleydale exit. And so you know how curvy that is.
Right.
And at that point, I had told him he needed to settle down. And that's when he started to strangle me. I was driving. I was able to get the car stopped. I was screaming for my life. And that broke me. And that was February of last year. And that guy got to walk free. I went forward. I said, I'm going to be brave enough to go to the cops and ask for help and get out of the situation. And my case was thrown out of court, even though we have the evidence and the picture, and the text messages and all the things. The system isn't set up for domestic violence victims. It's not. And
that's why so many women don't come forward, and men too, because men, they get abused. So many people don't come forward. Yeah,
they don't, because they don't feel safe. And I'll tell you, so in June, I had my last court date, and I have one more with them in regards to a protection from abuse order or just a restraining order.
Okay.
So when I went to court the last time, I ended up sitting there for 2 hours. They had continued my case. I knew nothing of what was going on, but I had just found out because I had called the court a week prior and said, hey, I'm calling to find out about the grand jury. Well, COVID and everything else had been backed up. And the last time we had talked about it was in February. And they said, well, there's no signs of grand jury coming back in. So I don't know. And if you've never been to court, which by the way, I was a first timer,
right?
You don't get to go plea your case. You don't go get to tell your story. So they get the detective's point of view and not yours.
Gotcha.
Well, they had that case in March and no one notified me. No one told me my case had been thrown out. So when I called to touch base, they were like, this has been thrown out. This was thrown out in March. Well, why wasn't I informed? That was one of a couple of problems that went wrong. So when I originally filed my report, I went ahead and wrote out my statement, all 7.5 pages, because I was like, I want everything to be there and I don't want to sit there in the police station working on this.
Right.
And they gave that report to him when they served him with papers, and it gave them my new address.
Oh my, no.
Yeah. And my new contact information and everything that went along with that.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. And nobody can say, okay, we probably need to take this out. Or we probably not. Yeah, I got it. But
so I went to court in June, July, and talked to them, and I had my piece with the judge, and the judge basically told me that I just need to go speak to state legislative because he didn't know half of what I even told him. He was the presiding judge on the case throughout. So it's set up in so many different increments and so many different systems, and people reach out to you to give you free counseling because they're trying to get their hours. And while I know they're trying to help and be helpful as a victim, and it took me a long time to be able to say that word and label myself that, it did not feel good for someone to go, hey, do you want to talk about it for free? And knowing they're just calling to say, hey, we're just checking in on you to make sure you're okay. It was, hey, let's do some free counseling. Why don't you ever really, how are you? Let's get those hours.
Yeah, let's get those hours in.
So I felt like I was on an island.
I know.
And so I felt like, and I'll tell you, I still have this draw to continue to tell this story because it's got to help somebody.
I know it will. And I'm glad you said that. I know there are women out there right now that are dealing with this, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know many women that hadn't dealt with it in some way, shape, form, or fashion, myself included, however minor or minute. That's just, but if someone is really dealing with it like you've had to deal with it, and I'm so glad to call you a survivor, because that's what you are. You're a survivor, and you're here, and you've survived to help somebody and to help other people. But if someone's dealing with it right now, what would you tell them? What would you say to them?
Call the people you think that you can't. Call the best friend you think's going to judge you. Call the cousin that you haven't talked to in 10 years. Call somebody. Because after I shared my story, so many people reached out and said, I wish you would have said something. I wish you would have come to me. And I know that you're feeling judged and you have to feel that vulnerability, and that vulnerability is scary, and it eats away at your gut and your insides, and it makes you feel all sweaty and clammy and hot, like you're getting a hot flash. And it's gonna continue to feel like that until you talk about it. And
that is amazing advice.
I couldn't, and all I can say is, yes, make sure you go forward and get the help. Just make sure you're smart about it. And if you want all the points, call me. If you feel like you can't call anybody and you want judgment-free conversation, call me.
Gotcha.
I do not mind helping anyone in that form of need, because I know what it's like to feel like you have nowhere to go and no one to talk to.
Right. And what I love about your story is that you dealt with it in your marriage. You found yourself in it again, which most women do. That's not uncommon at all. But this time you're like, I'm fighting. I'm not going to, I may not win. The courts and everything may be stacked against me, but I am going to fight. I'm going to let people know. I'm going to use my voice to let them know this is not right. And it's not going to go on. You're a survivor. I just love it. Look, I love your spirit. I love your energy. I love your story. I feel like a book is coming somewhere.
Well, I'll tell you, everyone has that inner voice that they're afraid to vocalize.
Right.
And I was afraid for a long time to vocalize her. And while you may call me a survivor, I will say I'm a thriver, because I refuse to be pulled down by any situation. I refuse to be smaller than I feel.
Right.
I refuse to fail. And if
everyone
takes that approach,
right,
you can wake up every day and be a little bit stronger from any situation you're in. You can decide whether or not you're going to handle the situation the right way or not. And that right way may be a phone call to cry. That right way may be deciding to drop everything. Y'all, I dropped everything when I got divorced. I said, you can have it all. I'll take the debt. I'll start over. Screw you. Don't come near me.
Right.
You do, it's over.
I love it. But see, that's your spirit. That's what you have. Because I I was looking at your social media and I saw you said something that brings me to it because I was about to forget it. And I'm glad you said it to trigger me. You wrote something that I love. And you said, don't be beautiful. I wrote it down because you said, don't be beautiful. Instead, be angry, be intelligent, be interesting, be klutzy, be funny, be adventurous, be strong, but just don't be beautiful. You know, I love this. And when I first said, I was like, what does she mean don't be beautiful? Because I'm always calling people, go, hey, beautiful, hey, but I get what you're saying. Because as women, that's
You're
what
just
we
have a pretty face.
Yeah, just supposed to have a pretty face, just supposed to be beautiful, just supposed to sit there. You know, I grew up in the age, because I'm a little older than you. I'm not gonna tell it, but I'm a little older than you. And I grew up in the age where, but just be seen and just be pretty and don't say anything.
Mm-hmm. I'm quite the opposite.
Yeah, that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not who I have ever been.
Exactly.
And that's why what you said there just struck a chord with me. I was like, she's so right. Women, and I have daughters. I have 2 daughters. And I tell them all the time, look, I have that, they, as women, period, you deal with body image and, you deal with all of this. And I've always told them, my thing to them, I was like, look, people going to look at you anyway. Give them something to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about
what you got at ease.
Thank you.
As long as you are comfortable with how you look and how you feel, that is all that matters. Because you're just a pretty face and you stay meek and mild in that corner, you will never be seen.
Never. And you're going to be treated that way.
Exactly.
You're going to be treated just like that. Jessica, girl, I love you. I love your spirit. I just, oh my goodness. It's like we were meant to come together. I'm sorry. We just were. From the moment you came over and said, if you can stand like this and you put your shoulders like this, I was like, and then when we saw those pictures, like, man, and we got to talking. It was like we were just meant to talk to each other and just be together. I love that you wanted to share your story, and I'm just going to encourage you, keep sharing it, because your story about your weight loss, about the domestic violence you experienced, you've helped me on the weight loss side. I've learned so much, not only just in this conversation, but when we first met, some things to do. And I know with domestic violence, you're going to help someone else out there, because you have just, you have paved the way for people to say, look at me. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can survive it, you can survive it. If I can fight, you can fight. And if I can come out changed and a better person, so can you.
Absolutely. And it's going to be 100% attitude. And you go in and you give 100% and you expect 0. And if you can go in with those 3 things, if you can go in with a great attitude, expecting, do everything, give 100% all the time and expect 0, you will have your happiest life. And I'll tell you, it has taken me 30 years to realize that. It has taken me losing family. It has taken me cutting toxic relationships out of my life.
My goodness,
me to heal from my ailments, to realize I have to go in and expect nothing, give it all, and have a positive attitude. Because if I go anything with a negative attitude, it's going to have a negative outcome.
Negative. Well, I thank you so much. Look, and it is only going to get better for you as it goes on. I just know that. I know that. I don't even have to guess. I just know it. And I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I can't wait for people to see this episode. They are going to love it. And look, this is not going to be our last time talking. I'm going to be reaching out to you for some different things.
Next time we'll have wine together. We'll do Winenergy together.
Yes, we will, face to face. How about that? Thank you so much, Jessica. I know you're busy. I just love you. And I love you for doing this for me. I appreciate it. And I am definitely going to stay in touch. And look, I'm going to raise a glass to you and sip one more.
As the speaker, the keynote speaker at the Business Journal said, there's no walls to love. I love you too.
Yes.
And I want you to have an amazing night. I know we were meant to see, and thank you for allowing me to share my story on your platform.
Anytime. Look, anytime you have anything to share, please reach out to me. Text me, please. Okay.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All
Enjoy.
right. All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.